Afternoon, sir.
Everyone. Hope I'm audible.
Madam.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the final day of this 1 week faculty development program on legal education and NEP 2020, organized by GH Raisoni Skill Tech University, Nagpur, in collaboration with School of Law, GH Raisoni University, Saikheda, and School of Law, GH Raisoni University, Amravati. This enriching journey over the past week has given us diverse perspectives, valuable insights, and meaningful discussions. Today's session promises to be equally engaging as we bring this academic endeavor to a close. It is my privilege to introduce Dr. Ravi Shankar Moore, an eminent legal academic with over 20 years of teaching and leadership experience. He is presently serving as the director of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar School of Law, Rashtra Sant Tukadoji Maharaj, Nagpur University, Nagpur. Dr. Moore holds an impressive academic background with qualifications in BSc, LLB, LLM, PhD Law, MLS, and MHRD and E. His doctoral research was focused on a critical analysis of preventive detention under the Constitution and other legislations related to terrorist and disruptive activities. Over the course of his career, Dr. Moore has held several significant academic and administrative positions at RTMNU, including member of Academic Council, chairman of the Board of Studies in Law, chairman of the Draft Direction Committee, and member of the Research Recognition Committee Law. He is also a recognized PhD supervisor, guiding advanced research in diverse areas of law. In addition to this, Dr. Moore has contributed to legal scholarship through his publications in Scopus Index and peer-reviewed journals, and has successfully undertaken minor research projects in the discipline. His leadership and academic contributions continue to make a meaningful impact on the advancement of legal education and research. Sir, I request you to please address the participants.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, organizer, Dr. Raman Bharadwaj, sir, and GH Raisoni University, Saikheda and Amravati. I am really happy to be part of this faculty development program. Dear participants, it's a faculty development program, particularly with NEP 2020, and you must have been hearing the speeches for last 1 week, and that I can see कि now you are possessing or you are in possession of more knowledge than anybody could come and deliver the speech on NEP 2020. Before I enter onto the domain and the topic assigned to me, I would like to speak a few words about NEP 2020. This might be a repetition, but still I feel that before we enter into a particular domain, the core subject of FDP should also be taken care of. So dear friends, what I have understood from NEP 2020 is it's a revolutionary move. It's a step taken by the state to revolutionize the entire higher education in India. What we were doing for last many years, there was a progress, but it was gradual. So far as higher education is concerned, or when it comes to make the Indian higher education compatible with the world standards. So gradual progress was there. But with NEP 2020, we have taken a giant leap. We tried to take so many things in one go. Complete credit based system. So learning has been defined in the form of credits. So a new parameter for assessing how much a person is learned, how much training he has completed. New credit system we have introduced, though it was there gradually and many universities were using that. But under NEP 2020, now if you have taken any training anywhere for 15 weeks and 1 hour a day, so for 15 weeks training is 15 hours training is done, then it's a 1 credit. And if 4 hours training per day is happening for 15 weeks, so 4 credit, that means we are quantifying the learning of a person, be it a skill training, be it an academic training. So now by looking at your grades and credits, the person who want to utilize your expertise, he can assess that how much training you have already taken in that particular field. This is similar to that of flying hours. If somebody has to be accepted as a commercial pilot, he should have a training of 2 hours, 2000 hours flying. So quantifying the training. So the same modality has now been employed across all the learning platforms, whether it is humanities, science, commerce, professional education. So this is the one revolutionary thing which has happened under NEP. Another big leap or attempt has been made by NEP is to have the student centric system rather than teacher centric. So it is no more a situation whereby we determine what we shall be teaching. It is the student who shall be deciding what they want to learn. And stereotypes of degrees, stereotypes of defined programs with particular courses, that has now been given a kind of liberation. So liberalization of education from the perspective of the students. Now they can decide that I'll complete this many courses this time. I can go for remaining courses in another exam. Even forming his own degree, that if he is getting more than 50% credit in a particular subject, then he can attach the credits on, which we call as minor credits, in different field and different skills, be it engineering. हो सकता है उसने 1 साल इंजीनियरिंग की पढ़ाई की हो तो वहाँ के कुछ क्रेडिट पड़े हैं, फिर लॉ की पढ़ाई 1 साल करके छोड़ दिया तो वहाँ के क्रेडिट पड़े हैं. तो नाउ स्टूडेंट कैन फॉर्म हिज ओन डिग्री. बस उसने करना क्या है कि मोर देन 50% क्रेडिट्स, इनफैक्ट इट्स 60%, अभी जो यूजीसी का प्रेजेंट क्रेडिट स्ट्रक्चर दिया हुआ है उसमें. If students are taking the 60% credit in a particular subject, he can have the minor credits from different field and he is entitled for the award of a degree. So now degree is also as per the choice of the student. Tomorrow he can surrender that degree and whatever minor credits he has earned, he can add some more credits to that and have the degree in some other specialization. So major will become minor and minor will become major and his nature of degree will change. So liberalization of the education, which has had happened in the Western world, European countries, much before, that has now been the system adopted under NEP 2020. So credit system, that means stratifying, quantifying the learning, liberalization of the degree, So now degree can be designed, self-designed by the learner, and this is nothing but the shifting of the focus from the giver-centric to the receiver-centric, learner-centric. Third, that is minor object, is the education in mother tongue. So be it a professional education of medical, engineering, architecture, law, government is now trying to have the education in mother tongue. Language should not become the barrier in possession of the knowledge or dissemination of the knowledge and information. So learner should not have an handicap because he do not know a particular language. He cannot have the degree or he cannot further proceed. And therefore, importance has been given in NEP for conversion of entire literature, be it of the professional courses or anything, in the mother tongue. So this is the third but minor objective. Fourth, as already told you, that multiple entry, multiple exit, that means learning at the pace of the student. So this amazed me when the students come to the university saying that we won't carry on, and university is reluctant to give the carry on. If we are in NEP 2020, students can decide at what pace they want to study. You cannot force them to pass this many courses, then only you can go for some other courses. No doubt one course can be the basis of another course. And therefore, unless and until he clears the earlier courses, he cannot go for the study of higher courses. That may be one of the logic. But if we are in the era of NEP 2020, then we should leave it to the students and decide whether he want to appear for these courses first and some other courses later. So carry on cannot be a demand in the era of NEP 2020. It is already there, and we have allowed, so NEP has allowed all such kind of arrangements. It has been accepted under NEP that university should design its programs and the directions and the regulation in such a fashion that they will not become hurdle in the learning management of the student. Student can manage his own learning. So multiple entry, multiple exit, mother tongue, promotion of knowledge in the vernacular language, then student centric, then quantifying the education. In this era, if we speak about the legal education or in general pedagogy, or in particular the teaching in higher education, because we enter into the higher education as a teacher, and there is a striking difference between the teachers teaching to the higher education and the teachers teaching to the school or junior colleges. Striking difference, a basic difference is this, that we have not gone through a formal training to be a teacher, while all the teachers at lower level of the ladder, they have got the formal training to become the teacher. And that makes a difference between the teachers teaching to the higher education and the teachers teaching to the junior colleges, schools, or primary education. Now today in this session, I wanted to have the discussion on that. How to deal, or what are the essentials, how we can. No doubt faculty development programs like this, they contributes a lot to keep the teachers up to date, to discuss about the pedagogy, new techniques of the teaching. Today's session we shall be having discussion upon the teaching as a profession, teaching to become a professional. So teaching as a profession and teaching in a professional college. Here we are having focus on law colleges, but it is equally applicable to all professional educations. Dear participants, let us start formal discussion on what is teaching, the nature of teaching. So first of all, teaching is a tripolar process. Now when I say that tripolar process, there are three factors which contribute to the teaching. First and foremost is the curriculum. So unless and until there is a pre-designed curriculum which will serve the need, and there shall be predetermined outcomes of the curriculum, the objective of teaching will not be fulfilled. So you cannot just go into the class having no direction and talking today something, tomorrow something. That is just like wandering in the jungle of knowledge. So curriculum is the first pole, that there should be a fixed curriculum. No doubt there is a role to be played by the teachers and the academic community in framing out the curriculum. It should be contemporary, serving the needs of that profession, serving the society, taking into account ethical moral values of the society. So curriculum is the first pole. And remaining two poles of this tripolar polar process is teacher and the student. Combining these three, curriculum, teacher and student, forms the process of teaching. Now, teaching is not लेजरली एक्टिविटी. कहते हैं ना कि वैसे तो मैं पीजी करना चाहता था, साइंटिस्ट बनना चाहता था, लेकिन बीएससी होने के बाद में टीचर बन गया, एमएससी होने के बाद टीचर बन गया. तो इट इज नॉट बाय एक्सीडेंट यू कैन एंटर इनटू दिस प्रोफेशन. Remember my dear friends, teaching is a profession. It is not something which we can accept just by the way कि टीचर क्या है, कोई भी बन सकता है. नो, दैट इज नॉट ट्रू. Teaching is a profession. Once I call it as a profession, then automatically all the parameters applicable to any profession are equally applicable to teaching profession. So our ideas, our notions, our concepts about teaching should be very clear, that this is a profession and we are the professionals. Then teaching is a science as well as art. We must remember about the nature of teaching. It's a profession. Number two, whether it is an art or whether it is a science. What is the difference between art and science? Art is more subjective field, while science is more stratified field, whereby everything depends on the pros and cons. Everything depends on 1 plus 1 is. So systematic, predetermined procedures are there, then it's a scientific study. And when it is subjective, आप कहीं नदी के किनारे बैठकर कविता लिख रहे, तो कविता लिखने का कोई पैटर्न है क्या फिक्स कि नदी किनारे ही बैठना चाहिए? आप किसी मंदिर में भी बैठ सकते हैं, शांत जगह बैठ सकते हैं, हो सकता है किसी को क्राउडेड प्लेस में बैठकर कविता करना अच्छा लगता है. तो देयर आर नो प्री डिफाइंड procedural aspects, then it's a area of humanities or art. When there are rules, regulation, procedures, fixed parameters, then it is a science. So teaching is a combination of both. It is a science as well as art. Now what is another part of nature of teaching? It is the planning. Planning is most important factor in the teaching. Unplanned teaching will lead you nowhere. So planning is also important. If you have a course to complete which contains 5 units, each unit contains at least 10 points each. So in all you have to speak about the 50 points, and lectures at your disposals are around 60, 65. Then you must plan in advance that I cannot devote more than 1.5 lecture on one topic. Otherwise, what will happen if I am a teacher of the Constitution and I love Article 21? आर्टिकल 21 पर आप मुझसे कितने भी लेक्चर करवा लीजिए, राइट टू लाइफ एंड पर्सनल लिबर्टी. Those who are from law background, they must be aware of the fact that Article 21 has been given interpretation so widely by the Supreme Court of India that everything and anything which is necessary for living a dignified life is considered to be a fundamental right under Article 20. If I have to deliver lecture on Article 21, I can go on delivering lecture for a month. But being a teacher in the undergraduate class, having assigned the task of completing the syllabus of constitutional law in 65 lectures, starting from Article 1 up to Article 395, I have to control my wish. I have to control my feelings, and I have to feel in not more than 2 lectures. Though I may be in possession of lot of knowledge, I want to give it to the students, but planning will get failed. If I go on talking about Article 21, 21, 21, all other articles will not get the justice. And therefore, the fourth important factor while discussing the nature of teaching is that there shall be a perfect planning, micro planning. Another point to be considered while discussing the nature of teaching. What is teaching? We are talking about the nature. So it's a profession, it's a try process, it's a science as well as art. Planning is important. What is another contributing factor to determine the nature of teaching? We must understand that teaching is a process that facilitates learning. So teaching without learning is nothing. When we talk about the nature of teaching, we must keep in mind that it is a process which facilitated which facilitate the learning. Learning is the at the core of the teaching. सारा का सारा प्रयोजन being a teacher is with the objective of the recipient should learn something. So learning is at the heart, at the core of any teaching. That we must keep in mind as a nature of teaching. Teaching is also a guidance. So facilitate learning is one thing, and to give guidance. Sometimes it happens that we can facilitate learning if he is knowing something about that thing. But if he is knowing nothing about that, then we have to guide that go in this direction, you will find this material and then you can study. So teaching is facilitate learning is okay. But at the same time, we have to be a guide. Guide shows the path that this is the direction where you have to start your journey or you have to proceed. Then you will get the proper sources of the knowledge. So it's a guidance. Another important factor about teaching is effective communication. Teaching needs effective communication. Unless and until you have acquired that skill of communicating effectively, teaching will not be of that quality. So teaching requires that effective communication. Effective communication means whatever you want to convey, whether it is the information, knowledge, or some philosophy, some guidance, whatever, that should go from one place to another place, from one person to another person. It's called communication. So effective communication is also at the core of a teaching. Another part of nature of teaching is that it is a motivation to learn things. Nothing can be taught. It is said. कुछ पढ़ाया नहीं जा सकता. फिर हम पढ़ाते क्यों हैं? Why we are going into the class? So we motivate to learn. Learning अपने आप होता है. You can give the water and an environment and condition. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible. I believe there has been some technical issue. I request everyone to kindly wait till he rejoins again.
Hello. I think now system is working.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for the interruption. Again, what is happening, I don't know. But are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because my screen is just getting black. I'm
We
not
can
able.
hear you very well, sir.
Okay. So we have seen some of the points whereby we can say that these are the parts of forming the nature of a teaching, that it's a process, tripolar process. And we were on the point of motivation, that motivation is also the factor which should come from the teacher. I was giving you the example of a seed. We can have the nutritious, the soil, the water. We can water the seed, but it has to germinate itself. It has to grow itself. And that is what the learning is. The learner has to learn himself. We can provide them the information, knowledge, philosophy, understanding, but ultimately it is for him to grasp everything, to get everything and convert it into the wisdom. So we can be the facilitator to learn, but ultimate learning will happen at the end of the student. And therefore, teacher should know that teaching is nothing but to motivate for learning. So these are some of the points regarding nature of teaching. Now let us come on the point that teaching is a profession. Now if I am calling teaching as a profession, what are the essential qualities which a teacher is supposed to have? So being a professional, there are certain values, there are certain essentials, there are certain requirements. Now what is profession? Profession is an occupation which requires certain amount of skill. It requires certain mastery over a skill to perform particular procedure. Professionals requires the knowledge of the field in which they are going to work. Not only having the knowledge, but also they need to know the skills which are essential to perform their responsibilities of the profession, and therefore it is different from the occupation. All the occupations are not professions. They may not require the skill. But when we say that skills, it is not only one time phenomena that somebody has acquired the skill and now he has become a teacher or the professional, whether it is a lawyer, whether it is a doctor. This skill continuously requires upgrading, practice, and therefore professionals are also called as skilled practitioners. One who practice continuous skill enhancement and continuously works upon his skill is called as a practitioner, and the practitioners are also called as professional when they practice in a defined field with the required competency of knowledge in that field. So required competency or the knowledge, say for an example, law teaching. So law teacher should possess at least master level knowledge in any one area of the law. So minimum competency of the knowledge. Now second requirement of a professional is the skill training. So practical training, skill training, along with the core competency or the subject knowledge. Now this skill training will not always come from the college. It is to be complemented by the bar. So sometime it has been said that कि merely having a degree from a law college, will not do to be a good vakil, advocate, because it's a profession. It needs continuous skill enhancement. Likewise, teaching is also a profession. See the teacher who is young, new, entering into the profession, and a teacher who is serving in the profession for past 25 years. There is a striking difference between two. One will not have that practice of skill enhancement. Skill is required to communicate, to transform. आप लोगों को आवाज आ रही है ना? आई एम रीअश्योरिंग बिकॉज मेरे
Yes, sir.
मेरे लैपटॉप का स्क्रीन पूरा डार्क है. आई एम नॉट गेटिंग एनीथिंग.
जी सर.
हो सकता है कुछ ये टेक्निकल ग्लिच हो. तो
सर
मैं
आपकी आवाज एकदम क्लियर आ रही है एंड यू आर आल्सो विजिबल वेरी क्लियर सर.
ओके, यानी कैमरा भी चल रहा है, नो प्रॉब्लम. तो स्किल का हमें डेली प्रैक्टिस जितना होगा, इसीलिए टीचर्स विथ 20 years प्रैक्टिस, 25 years of experience, they are much better, क्योंकि इट्स अ हॉनिंग ऑफ द स्किल. स्किल को आप रोज तराश रहे, घस रहे, और घसते घसते वो टीचर इतना प्रोफेशनल हो जाता है कि हाउ टू हैंडल डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ क्यूरीज इन द क्लास, क्लास कंट्रोल कैसा करना है, बच्चों से रेपो कैसा डेवलप करना है. दिस इज द पार्ट ऑफ स्किल. नॉलेज तो है, कम्युनिकेशन का स्किल है. धीरे धीरे कम्युनिकेशन का स्किल इंप्रूव होते चला जाता है. कई बार टीचर जो कॉलेज में लगते हैं ना हमारे, अदर टीचर्स विल कम एंड विल टेल मी दैट कि नो शी इज नॉट अप टू द मार्क. We should rethink of continuing that particular teacher as a contributory faculty. But I know that teaching is a skill, and it will not be in a day that somebody has been appointed afresh for the first time, taking the responsibility of teaching. In the very first semester, he will be a very popular teacher. This will never happen, or rarely happen. And therefore, by giving time only, we can develop good teachers. Because teaching is a profession, it requires a skill, and skill requires the continuous practice. Honing means continuous improvement in your skill. So that makes a teacher professional and a perfect teacher. So far as motivation part is concerned, being a teacher, you must motivate student to learn. I'll share with you one reality of the time. This is a reality that all those who have become good scientists, good doctors, good professionals, someday or other, they were motivated by their teachers. It is the teacher, or it is the teaching profession which creates all professionals. Every teacher has capability of producing hundreds of the good professionals and citizens. And all the citizens of the professionals which you see in the society, they are nothing but the product of good teachers. Someday or other, somebody has impressed them. And they felt that I want to achieve, I want to be like my teacher. And therefore, teachers should always be a figure who can motivate. You should be a dynamic teacher. You should know the subject thoroughly. This is not only for the teacher, for any profession. And when we are saying that teaching is a profession, so responsibility is larger, bigger on the teacher to be a figure who can motivate. Unless and until you can motivate your student, you cannot create the generations. Now, how to be a motivator? Sometimes it comes naturally when people start idolizing you, your behavior gets improved, you start behaving more better in better way. So motivation comes from the teacher, and teacher become a motivator naturally when he receives the respect in the society, in the class, from the students. But that is very slow and gradual process. If you want to be a good professional from day one, we are required to study certain books, to read at least some books. How to become a motivator, how to become a good friend. Dale Carnegie is considered to be father of public speaking. At least we should read his 100-page book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So all teachers, this is my own suggestion, that they should be the part of the community which can motivate, which can influence. Otherwise you cannot motivate to learn. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जिस सब्जेक्ट में हमें कोई अच्छा टीचर मिल जाता है, हम उसी सब्जेक्ट में आगे चलकर अपना करियर बनाना चाहते हैं. So it is equally true for all the people. And from this we can draw a conclusion that teacher should have not only the command on his subject, but he should be a better communicator. His idea should immediately percolate in the minds of the young students. It's very difficult to convince anybody when he comes to the higher education. They are already prepared. But this miracle, this magic can be done by the teacher alone. And therefore we call it as a profession of motivation, motivating the learner to learn. So teaching, nature of teaching, then teaching as a profession. Now come to the third point. Teaching as a profession, then what are the qualities of an effective teacher and what should be avoided, because that will become ineffective teaching. So effective teaching and ineffective teaching is the next area we have to study. Now what makes effective teaching? Whether it is the law studies or any other studies, there are certain basics of effective teaching. As I told you that it's a profession. So in any profession, so also in a teaching, to be an effective teacher, first of all, planning. Unless and until you are entering in a class with planning, your lecture will not be that effective. So you should have plan in advance that these are 3 topics which I am going to discuss in the class today. There should be a little bit brooding over it. Brooding means continuous thinking. So while giving that thought to the topics to be taught in the class, you may relate that topic with some contemporary examples, the topics which are going on in the society. This brooding will help you in planning the delivery of lecture. So planning is not only which topic I am going to cover today, how much time we have to give. Time management is only one part of your planning. Apart from that, what I am going to teach and how I am going to teach, that should also be planned. Sometime you can take help of some interactive activities. So planning is the core to become effective teacher. Planning, time management, subject management, technique management. Which technique I am going to employ today in the class, whether I am going to take some object in the class and then discuss, whether I am having a mock representation of the trial, whether case study will be there, whether I am going to discuss certain facts discussed by the Supreme Court yesterday. So you should plan your technique, your method, your topic, and your time. Second important is obviously the subject knowledge. So that topic should be thorough with you. We must be prepared with the particular topic before entering into the class. अगर हमारी प्रिपरेशन नहीं हुई है तो स्टूडेंट्स विल get to know that today my teacher is not or are not prepared. So they'll come to know. And it's quite easy to catch that teacher is not prepared today. It's not a big deal. Student knows from your body language. They know from your behavior that he is not in his own control, and therefore thorough preparation of topic. I think after so many years of practice, it's easy for us. It's not that difficult that we can give the revision to the topic at hand. Initially, it may take half an hour for preparation of 1 hour lecture, but with the passage of time, only 5 minutes. 5 minutes will be sufficient time to give the revision or relook to the topic to be covered in the class. And that's not a big time. 5 मिनट तो हम दे ही सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप वो 5 मिनट दिए बगैर without giving a look to your earlier notes prepared on the same topic or some points, हम अगर सीधा क्लास में जाते हैं तो ऑब्वियसली हमारा लेक्चर जो है 10-20% 30% उसका क्वालिटी खराब हो जाएगी. ये मैं अपने एक्सपीरियंस से बता रहा हूँ. एक 5 मिनट का अगर आपका प्रिपरेशन हो जाता है तो दैट विल बी सो इजी कि आप 5 मिनट के प्रिपरेशन में अपने लेक्चर को एक एक्सेलेंट लेक्चर बना सकते हैं. टीचिंग एज ए प्रोफेशन हो गया है ना. नॉलेज की रिक्वायरमेंट मैंने आपको बता दी. नाउ आई एम इन पोजीशन ऑफ माय मटेरियल. Yes, now things are in control a bit. तीसरा, यानी हमने एज ए गुड टीचर, इफेक्टिव टीचर, यू शुड बी पंक्चुअल एंड रेगुलर. नॉलेज भी है आपके पास, स्किल तो चाहिए ही, वो हमने अभी देखा कि बीइंग अ प्रोफेशनल स्किल चाहिए. आप पूरा प्रिपेयर करके भी आए, प्लानिंग करके भी आए, लेकिन देर आर सर्टन क्वालिटीज विच मेक्स योर ट्रेनिंग इफेक्टिव, टीचिंग इफेक्टिव, एंड दे आर regularity and punctuality. टीचर जो खुद ही क्लास में 20 मिनट लेट जा रहा है, 10 मिनट पहले छोड़ रहा है, कभी absent रह रहा है, he is not communicating with the student that today he will not be able to attend the class. So these are the factors which makes your teaching ineffective. To make your teaching effective, you must have the punctuality, regularity, truth and loyalty. झूठ बोलने वाले टीचर, not loyal to the institution, to the profession. यानी इधर टीचिंग कर रहे, उधर बार बार मोबाइल में स्टॉक के रेट्स देख रहे हैं कि मेरा इंट्राडे में रेट बढ़ गया है कि नहीं, बीच में ही फोन आ रहा है, उधर कोई तो भी बिजनेस की बात कर रहे हैं. So you are not loyal to the profession. Being a teacher and effective teacher, punctuality, regularity, truthfulness, loyalty, they all counts. Honesty, humbleness, accountability, self-regulation, integrity, जो एक अच्छा इंसान होने के लिए जरूरी है, वो सारे रिक्वायरमेंट है. ये प्रोफेशनल रिक्वायरमेंट्स है टीचर. यानी ये क्वालिटीज, इफ दीज आर द क्वालिटीज विच आर नॉट देयर इन अ बिजनेसमैन, स्टिल ही कुड बी अ गुड बिजनेसमैन. वो लोगों से ठीक से बात नहीं करता है, लेकिन उसका प्रोडक्ट जो है मोनोपोली प्रोडक्ट, तो ही विल बी ए सक्सेसफुल बिजनेसमैन. हो सकता है क्वालिटीज होते तो और ज्यादा सक्सेसफुल, बट दिस विल नॉट completely throw him out from the business because he is not self-regulated, he is not humble, honest, accountable, or his integrity is questionable. Other profession में ये supplementary, but teaching में these are the basic qualities for being a good teacher, for effective teacher. क्योंकि you are producing yourself before the students as a model, idol, जिसको वो कॉपी करेंगे. तो अदर प्रोफेशन में चल जाएगा कि आपके कितने अफेयर्स है, आप बाहर क्या करते हैं, पान ठेले पर खड़े रहते हैं, सिगरेट पीते हैं. बट इन टीचिंग योर बिहेवियर विल बी टेकन नोट ऑफ एंड इट विल डिसाइड वेदर यू आर अ गुड टीचर और बैड टीचर. एंड देयरफॉर ये बातें तो सभी को मालूम है, लेकिन बिकॉज टुडे इज द ओकेजन इन द फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट, आई हैव टू रिपीट देम, just to remind you what you already know. Again, for effective teacher, we should know our responsibilities and we should understand the concept of social justice. The teacher who are devoid of these qualities of understanding social justice, responsibilities, being a part of society, they are not considered to be a good teacher or good teachers. People may have their opinion. Sometimes you may also have your personal opinion. But when you are acting as a professional, behaving as a teacher, you must possess the qualities of a neutral person who appreciate all the schemes and phenomena for social justice. There should not be inequality in the society on the basis of gender, money, even understanding, learning, teaching. आजकल fear of being getting cancelled, कैंसल कल्चर रहता ना आजकल, कि 4 दोस्तों में से एक दोस्त को अगर कुछ पता नहीं है, वो अगर आ रहा नहीं पार्टी में, तो हो सकता है कि बाद में आगे से उसको बच्चे अपने साथ ना रखें, उसके पीयर्स. फोमो, फियर ऑफ नॉट बीइंग एक्सेप्टेड. तो टीचर को ये सब नहीं रख सकता. टीचर जो है वो सभी को साथ में लेकर जाना पड़ेगा. Whatever may be your individual ideology, whatever may be your individual liking, but in the profession, as a teacher, all the values, all the good things, social justice, equality, charity, honesty, they are all the essentials to become a good, effective teacher. Then multi-skill teacher cannot only be skilled in one thing and say that I don't know anything else. At times you have to sing the song along with the students when you are on the educational tour, recreation. You must have the multiple skills. देखो मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि a teacher should be a good actor. ड्रामाबाज होना चाहिए, उसको एक्टर होना चाहिए. He should get involved into the teaching, into the characters, more particularly in the humanities, in the art subjects. Law is the mixture of art and science. So you must be able to dramatize the things. Multi-skill is the essential requirement of good teacher. Continuous updating of the knowledge. It is more important in legal field because judgments are coming. Judgments are nothing but the interpretation given to the legal provisions, be it the constitutional provisions or the statutory provisions. So when interpretation has been given in a particular way by the Honorable Supreme Court, law laid down by the Supreme Court is binding on all the courts in India. So whatever judgment comes, we call it as a law under Article 141 of the Constitution. And therefore continuous updation of knowledge. Otherwise, you are giving wrong information to the students. If court has come to the particular interpretation of a provision and you are not updating yourself, ऐसा हो सकता है कि law teacher is giving wrong information to the students. Focus on character, code of ethics, high status and dignity. These are three more requirements. Focus on character. Student का character सोने जैसा होना चाहिए. किसी और प्रोफेशन में चल जाता है. Being a lawyer, आप पर्सनल लाइफ में क्या करते हैं, कितने बजे घर जाते हैं, nobody will mind. But in teaching, character, then your code of ethics, कि आप कितने इथिक के पक्के या आप फिसल जाते. तो कैरेक्टर, इथिक्स, डिग्निटी, self dignity, high status and dignity, how you carry yourself, how you dress, how you behave, how you walk, how you speak, with whom you are roaming in the society, what is your circle, everything counts in the teaching. टीचिंग में सारी चीजें आएंगी, इसलिए टीचिंग पेडागोगी includes the character building, strong ethical code of conduct, self dignity. These are the essentials. So these are the essentials of a effective teaching. And when you can call it as a effective, अब भी मेरा teaching ये सारे qualities मेरे पास है, लेकिन how to assess that whether teaching has been done effectively or not? So if you can explain everything very clearly with relevant example, if you are well prepared, if you have made the topic easy to understand, and if you can keep the attention of learner in the class, ये सारे क्या है, parameters to assess whether your teaching was effective or not. अगर स्टूडेंट का अटेंशन क्लास में है, उनको टॉपिक इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड लगने लगा है, उनको क्लियर एग्जांपल्स मिल रहे हैं आपके पास से, लॉट ऑफ एग्जांपल्स, पिक्चर्स, डिटेल्स, वैरायटी ऑफ मॉडल्स, जो भी आप ला सकते हैं टीचिंग में. इट शुड नॉट बी मोनोटोनस कि जैसा मैं आज कर रहा हूँ, आया मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, आई हैव नॉट शेयर्ड द पीपीटी और देयर आर नो टूल्स apart from the delivery of lecture. because it's a specialized gathering of teachers, this is okay. Here we are all at par. But in the class, you should mix up the things. अगर मैं आपके थाली में रोज सब्जी रोटी दे दूं तो आपको लगेगा क्या भोजन करना है, बट उसमें वेराइटी रहेंगी, कभी चटनी है, कभी कुछ फ्राइड है, कभी कुछ ड्राई है, कभी कुछ फ्रूट्स है, तो यू विल फील दैट आई शुड ईट. और इसलिए इफेक्टिव टीचिंग हुआ कि नहीं हुआ ये आपको अपने क्लास में ही सेम डे समझ में आ जाएगा, बिकॉज learning happened at the end of the student. We can just create the environment for learning, but seed has to grow itself, himself. सीड को खुद ही ग्रो होना पड़ता है. हम सिर्फ न्यूट्रिशन दे सकते हैं, इन्वायरमेंट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. तो आपने अगर वो इन्वायरमेंट इफेक्टिवली क्रिएट किया तो इफेक्टिव टीचिंग हो गया. इफेक्टिव टीचर जो रहता है वो एनर्जेटिक रहता है, डायनेमिक पर्सन रहता है. मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट एक अच्छी फील्ड यहाँ पर लिखी हुई दिख रही मुझे कि गुड टीचर विल, इफेक्टिव टीचर विल एंजॉय हिज टीचिंग एंड ही विल लव द फील्ड इन विच ही इज. अगर आप अच्छे टीचर है तो यू विल लव टीचिंग, यू विल एंजॉय योर टीचिंग. जो टीचर अपनी टीचिंग को एंजॉय करते हैं वो इफेक्टिव टीचर. और जो सिर्फ सैलरी कब आने वाली है और कोई प्रोफेशन नहीं था तो इधर आ गया, तो फिर वो टीचर का इफेक्टिव टीचिंग मुश्किल है. सो एन इफेक्टिव टीचर कैरीज द ऑरा ऑफ सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस. सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ रहता है. जो टीचर इफेक्टिव होता है ना, आप उसको देख लो, he will always carry himself with the confidence because he knows the subject, he knows the student, he knows the technique, he enjoys the teaching, he loves the field in which he is, and therefore there shall be an aura created around him of self-confidence. So these are the parameters and the qualities to assess the effective teaching. Now what is ineffective? वैसे तो इनइफेक्टिव के बारे में चर्चा नहीं करनी चाहिए, बट लेट अस हैव सम डिस्कशन ऑन इनइफेक्टिव टीचिंग. देखो, आई हैव सम प्रेजेंटेशन प्रिपेयर्ड बाय समबडी फ्रॉम देयर. आई एम टेकिंग द पॉइंट्स एंड आई एम डिस्कसिंग इट इन माय वे. देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन दैट. सो इनइफेक्टिव टीचिंग कब हो जाता है? तो व्हेन टीचर आस्क क्वेश्चंस इन क्लास एंड इमीडिएटली कॉल अ पर्टिकुलर स्टूडेंट ओनली. रिपीटेड क्वेश्चन, रिपीटेड. एक ही वॉलंटियर रहता है. वो मैजिशियन होते हैं ना, उसका एक झम्मुरा होता है कि कुछ भी एक्टिविटी करना है तो वो उसको बुला लेता है, असिस्टेंट. तो वी शुड नॉट बी अ टीचर हु इज ऑलवेज कॉलिंग फॉर द आंसर फ्रॉम द वॉलंटियर. ओनली वन वॉलंटियर और टू वॉलंटियर्स इन द क्लास, एंड फॉर ऑल द क्वेश्चंस you are getting answers from them, and if they have given the answer you are presuming that the teaching has done effectively. So this is an ineffective teaching. When teacher gives answer without giving time to think to the student. कई बार in the case of managing time we do not wait, we are always in rush. हम क्या करते हैं कि हमने क्वेश्चन पूछा, कुछ बच्चे बस सोच रहे कि अब जवाब दूं नहीं दूं, लिटिल बिट थोड़ा सा हेजिटेशन कुछ बच्चों में रहता है. बिफोर दे कुड आंसर यू आर गिविंग द आंसर्स. सो या तो वॉलंटियर जो आपका फिक्स है वो आंसर कर रहा है या आप खुद ही आंसर कर दे रहे. तो दोनों सिचुएशन में इट इज इनइफेक्टिव टीचिंग. थर्ड है, अगर आप वेराइटी ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन देने के लिए वेराइटी ऑफ मेथड्स, वेराइटी ऑफ मोड्स यूज नहीं कर रहे, या फिर देर इज नो वेराइटी इन योर एग्जाम्पल्स, क्योंकि हर किसी को चेंज चाहिए. यू कैन अडॉप्ट द स्टोरी टेलिंग, असाइनमेंट्स, डिस्कशन, एक्टिविटीज. In our college we are having a preamble park. So my constitution teacher, while discussing the chapter of preamble, they engage the class in the open theater in the vicinity of the park. So this gives them a change कि चलो आज क्लास से उठकर बाहर बैठे. तो those who are monotonous, they are ineffective. If you are teaching without learning objectives कि आज आप क्या पढ़ाना चाहते हैं यही आपको पता नहीं है कि आज के लेक्चर के बाद में what will be the change in the student, in that particular student or in the students, among the students. So learning objective should be very clear with you कि I want to make this point clear with the students. All the students will be able to understand this phenomena henceforth. And teachers should always avoid disrespecting students. Some teacher have this habit of calling the students by names disrespectfully. Without any reason we are scolding them, not taking into account their needs. So this is a barrier in communication. So if you are disrespectful to the students, next time they will hesitate to answer. And therefore it is said that if you fail to have a good repo among the students, रेपो का मतलब ये नहीं है कि उनके कंधे पे हाथ रख के चाय पीने जाना है, सिगरेट शेयर करनी है. But if they are hesitant of asking question in your lecture, then you are not having that conducive environment for teaching and learning. And therefore, the last important thing we should be kept in mind that this should be avoided is that we should not create an environment whereby students are hesitant of discussion with the teacher. Now, these are some of the effective and ineffective teaching. We have also seen the professional qualities, teaching as a profession. Now, why teaching is the most important profession? Because it's not only a profession, but it is our most important profession, because all the professionals come from this profession. Teaching is the profession that teaches all other professions. Teachers have the capacity to shape the minds and future of many students. You are shaping the mind. You know, जब हम ग्रुप ऑफ हो जाते हैं ना, तो एक व्यक्ति को कन्विंस करना, that is a big task, Herculean task. And teachers are assigned with the task of shaping the minds of hundreds of people. आप कोशिश करके देखिए कि आप अपने एक मित्र को बदलने की कोशिश करिए कि आपकी ये 2 आदतें ठीक नहीं है, आप चेंज हो जाइए. It's very difficult to convince the people for a particular behavioral pattern. And teachers, they are assigned with the task of shaping the minds of hundreds of the students. So it's not a normal profession. It is most important profession because it shapes the minds and future of many students. Teachers can make difference in learners' life by giving knowledge related to his life. देखो कितना बड़ा contribution है. We all being teacher enjoy this privilege. We always feel proud of ourselves कि हमने कुछ लोगों के जीवन में बदलाव लाया. कोई स्टूडेंट जिसको बहुत अच्छा लैंग्वेज नहीं आता था, गरीब परिवार से था, गांव से था, and after your training he has become a good well-known lawyer or a judge. You feel proud. So you can make change in the life of the student. You can shape his future. Therefore, this profession is important profession. A good teacher help us, that means to the students, to become good human beings in the society and good citizens of the country. So that is the outcome of this profession. You create the good humans, good citizens having civic sense. And that is also why this profession is called as an important profession. Now let us come on the last leg of our discussion. That is teaching methods or pedagogy. What are the different methods we can employ in law colleges, law teaching? We know some of the methods. Lecture method we are aware of. Chalk and board method we are aware of. Seminar method we are aware of. Case study we are aware of. But all these methods are now traditional methods. And law teaching is somewhat different than other fields of knowledge. Here teachers are supposed to be so dynamic that he should know everything, at least to some extent, that is happening in the society. If the students are now using Insta or some other social platforms, social media platforms, टीचर कैनॉट से दैट कि नहीं मैं तो इंस्टा पे नहीं हूँ, आई डोंट नो कौन कौन से इमोजीज आप यूज करते हैं. और इसलिए ये जो हमारे ट्रेडिशनल मेथड्स है, लेक्चर मेथड, ब्लैक बोर्ड मेथड, केस स्टडी, सेमिनार्स, ये थोड़ा सा अभी हमको मॉडर्नाइज करने की जरूरत है. नाउ वी कैन नॉट गो बाय द ट्रेडिशनल मेथड्स अलोन. With the advent of information technology, more particularly artificial intelligence, now students are getting the notes ready made. Students के पास notes ready made आ गए हैं. They can find the answer to their question without browsing any single website. They can directly go on some artificial intelligence program and simply they can find answer to their query. And therefore in this modern technique, in this modern era of driven by artificial intelligence and information technology, the teaching is required to be updated accordingly. Now कैसे update करेंगे अभी? Which are these modern techniques which are employed elsewhere? So modern techniques calls for combination of all. It says that at times you can take mix of 2-3 techniques. Nowadays we have started in premium institutes of law the paper book study. Now what is this paper book study? So it's a different from case law methods of teaching. You know that when any civil matter has been determined by the civil court, and if it goes into the appeal, the lower court which has conducted the trial or the proceeding, it has to prepare a paper book complete from day 1 to the passing of a decree or rejection of the suit. And this paper book will be submitted to the appellate court so that they can proceed further. Now this paper book technique has been employed by premium law institutes. They will get access to some of the paper books from the trial courts or from the lawyers who are visiting faculty in the law colleges. They'll ask the student to read that complete case, complete trial, complete proceeding, starting from the sending of the notice to the filing of the suit, which will include the pleading, petition, the points covered in the petition, the reply filed by the respondent, then notices for submission of the documents, the counter documents, list of evidences, recording of the evidences, cross-examination, in between the civil applications which have been filed, or if any interlocutory applications, then arguments, judgment, decree, or the orders. Once the students or a group of students are well prepared with this paper book, the teacher will undertake that particular provision of a law upon which that case. But we all teacher knows that any case will not be only involving a particular section. There will be multiple sections involved. The procedural law has been taken care of. And therefore, when we study a paper book, we essentially study or make the students study CPC, either CPC or CRPC. We make them study the Evidence Act. We make them study some special statute like Specific Performance Act or Contract Act, Transfer of Property Act, Labor Law, or something. And when I am talking about transfer of property, it will not be only about one section. The rights, liabilities, the definition. If it is a contract, then particular provision, another provision, third provision. So it's a combination of different statutes, procedural as well as substantive. It's a combination of everything which has resulted into the outcome in the form of justice to the party. And therefore, after going through this paper book by a group of students along with the teacher, the discussion should happen in the class side by side in line with the teaching particular provisions of an act. Now, what is this technique? Here you are preparing the students to learn the law in the fashion it will be dealt in the court. So we can make them equipped with the faculty of reading particular provision of a law in a way that it will be interpreted and discussed in the court. So reading a particular provision to understand it academically is a different thing. And once you are in possession of a paper book where the same provision or that particular provision in the context along with other provisions of procedural law, substantive law has been discussed or given meaning, which has been the point of controversy between the parties. When this vision has been developed, when this training has been given to the student, they become more prepared for the profession. So this is paper book study rather than case study. Case study, we get the judgments of the Supreme Court and High Court and we discuss them in the class. So rather than going by that case study method, paper book study method can also be employed or make use of. Second, we being the teachers of a professional college where our products will go into the practice and will help the courts in administration of justice as a judge or the members of the bar. Training of the profession is more important. So training up till now we are employing the techniques of taking the students to observe the proceedings to the court, but never it will happen that during the period of 6 months a student was in position to observe the complete trial. A student was in position to observe a complete trial. And therefore, merely having these moot courts or court visits, we have to invent new technique whereby student can get to understand the complete life cycle of a particular case. Paper book is a one way, but that is theoretical transmission of what has happened practically in the court. If we have to equip them with the skill of practical training, then without taking students to the moot court hall, none of the teachers should complete the curriculum of any subject. Moot court shall not be the responsibility of only one teacher, be it labor law, be it land law, transfer of property, Hindu law, family law, और भारतीय न्याय संहिता, किसी भी सब्जेक्ट का कोई भी टीचर, उसका टीचिंग कंप्लीट नहीं होना चाहिए जब तक कि वो अपने विषय के 1-2 ट्रेनिंग सेशंस इन द मूट कोर्ट हॉल, प्रैक्टिकल आर्ग्यूमेंट, प्रैक्टिकल हियरिंग, प्रैक्टिकली प्रिपेयरिंग अ प्लेंट और अ रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट, जब तक ये नहीं होगा तब तक आप अपने सब्जेक्ट को उसका ड्यू जो उससे मिलना चाहिए बच्चों को वो नहीं दे पाए। और इसलिए मैंने इसको नाम दिया कि मॉडर्न टेक्निक्स ऑफ टीचिंग इन लॉ। कोई भी सब्जेक्ट हो, नन ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट इन लॉ इज अ थ्योरेटिकल सब्जेक्ट, ऑल सब्जेक्ट्स आर प्रैक्टिकल सब्जेक्ट्स। ऐसा होने वाला है क्या कि कोई लॉ ऐसा है कि जिसका कभी कोर्ट में तो उपयोग ही नहीं होता? विल इट हैपन? फिर हम उसको लॉ कहते थे क्या? लॉ है तो इश्यूज रहेंगे तो डिटर्मिनेशन रहेंगे। डिटर्मिनेशन कहाँ होता है? तो आइदर बिफोर द ट्रिब्यूनल और द कोर्ट। एंड देयरफॉर ऑल द सब्जेक्ट्स वी आर टीचिंग इन द लॉ, they are all practical subjects. It is not like that ki ADR, professional ethics, moot court, court visit, they are only practical subjects. Each and every subject is a practical subject in law, and therefore without practical training on that particular subject, none of the teacher in any law school should declare his classes or curriculum is over. कुछ तो प्रैक्टिकल ट्रेनिंग आपको अपने सब्जेक्ट का देना। दिस इज ऑल्सो द मॉडर्न रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ टीचिंग। So far as the techniques like online moot courts, competition, internship, they are still confined to the metro cities. Now each and every one should give the thought to it, that how my student can be engaged after class hours for 2 hours, 3 hours internship with a law firm, internship with a court, internship with a library of the high court. So he will be engaged, finding, studying, browsing, going through the judgments of India, of other jurisdictions. Sometimes such interns are given the task of finding the meaning assigned to a particular term in different jurisdictions. So you must be employing those techniques, practices to make our law students better equipped for their profession. So modern techniques involved use of ICT in your teaching, use of online mode of internships in your teaching, use of practical training for each subject as a part of your curriculum teaching. Modern techniques involved complete trial understanding by paper book. So these are the techniques which are now in operation. And this is not sufficient. When I say that all modern techniques, so we must know that international organizations are also doing a lot. So arbitration is not confined to a state now. Online arbitrations are happening. Multi-country arbitrations are being held either online or in a neutral country. Information has now been stored electronically. Contracts are signed electronically. So in your teaching, all these developments, they shall be the part of your lecture. Unless and until हम लोग ये सारी चीजें जो आज हो रही है उसको पार्ट नहीं बनाएंगे हमारे डिस्कशन का, मोनोटोनस ईयर आफ्टर ईयर, अगर मैं जो 25 इयर्स पहले क्लास लेता था सिमिलर क्लास आज कंडक्ट करने जाऊंगा तो बच्चे बैठेंगे क्या? वो बोलेंगे सर इससे ज़्यादा तुमको एआई बता देता है. भाई वी शैल कम ऑल द वे टू दिस कॉलेज, सिट इन योर क्लास, समथिंग न्यू, समथिंग फ्रेश, something which will not be the part of understanding of student without proper guidance. So role of a guide is now larger so far as profession of law is concerned. Rather than giving information and the knowledge, guidance and motivation, facilitation to learn. Now they should be our core idea while going into the class. How I can facilitate the learning, how I can guide them to reach a particular storage of knowledge, how I can motivate them to undertake some internship. So these are the modern techniques which must be kept in mind to be an effective teacher. So the takeaways from today's lecture is employ the modern techniques. First learn them, understand them, be familiar with them, then convey them with the students. Number 2 takeaway, teaching is a profession. It's an independent profession, unique identity. Forget that you are a lawyer. You are teaching in a law college. First of all, remember that it's a profession in which you have came, and that is called as a teaching profession. And teachers cannot have the liberty like other professionals have. Their character, ethics, dignity, how they carry themselves, what is the level of their knowledge, how effective they are in communication. These are the skills required, basics, and therefore takeaway is teaching is a profession. Third takeaway, new education policy is not teaching centric, but it's a learner centric. So complete liberty with the student, how to learn, what to learn, where to learn, when to learn, how, what, when, and where. Complete liberty is there. So we must give this orientation to ourselves through such FDPs. We have to change our orientation. We are no more masters of the class. Students are the masters. They will determine what they want to learn. With this, my dear friends, I am done with what I wanted to share with you. If you have any question, if I could, I wish to answer them.
Lecture finds an effective teacher, and teaching pedagogy have given us both inspiration and direction. It has challenged us to reimagine our own role as educators in shaping future generations. We shall now open the session for question and answers. I invite the participants to come forward with their questions. We already have one question in the chat box, sir.
Can you please read that for me, because I am not having my screen work.
Yes, sir. I'll do that. How far classroom teaching in the field of law is relevant given the availability of virtual modes of learning and of the vast exposure to legal knowledge and information on online platforms?
Yes, classroom teaching is still important because no doubt virtual mode, virtual classrooms, lot of information, and classroom teaching has a disadvantage of that coming to a particular place, sitting there at a particular time, but it has its own advantage. Teaching happens subtly. So what we say, no doubt that has been conveyed. But what we don't say, that has also been conveyed when there is a close proximity of the learner and the facilitator. जब टीचर और स्टूडेंट आमने सामने होते हैं, क्लोज प्रॉक्सिमिटी में होते हैं, they have been forced or compelled to pay attention. और उस वक्त टीचर जितना बताता है उससे ज़्यादा कन्वे होते रहता है, उससे बॉडी से, उसके बिहेवियर से, और इसलिए लर्निंग ये हमेशा क्लोज प्रॉक्सिमिटी में 1 to 1 होता है, ऐसा एविडेंसेस काफ़ी है. There are lot many researches which has proved that कि classroom teaching is still relevant. You can have the information, knowledge and the teachers available sitting miles away and connecting with you through online mode. But जो vibes का transmission होता है ना, वो हमेशा टीचर टू स्टूडेंट इन द क्लोज प्रॉक्सिमिटी होता है. अब उसको डिफाइन करना मुश्किल है, बट रिसर्च ने ये प्रूव किया है कि क्लासरूम टीचिंग इज स्टिल advantageous over the virtual mode of teaching.
Sir, there is one more question by Manjusha ma'am. She's asking that does NEP, related to legal education of course, give scope for critical thinking? If yes, in what ways?
First of all, NEP wanted to have a national higher education commission and wanted to dismantle all the regulatory bodies which are there for different professions. They don't want Medical Council of India to be there or Indian Medical Council, whichever regulatory body in the field of medicine is there. They want all these bodies to be merged in the National Higher Education Commission. But there was a resistance. So far as legal education is concerned, Bar Council of India, which is regulatory body, they said that no, we don't want to be part of National Human Rights Commission, and therefore from National Education Policy 2020, legal education has been kept out, that all the parameters of National Education Policy, they will not be ipso facto applicable to the legal education. Though there are rounds of meeting happening between the office bearers of BCI and the government, Ministry of Education, and BCI time and again has issued the circular saying that as far as possible we should design our curriculum in consonance with the NEP. But the important factor the participant has raised question over is whether it promotes the critical thinking among the students. The primary object of any teaching learning is to have that ability or to develop that ability of critical thinking. NEP has great emphasis on developing the holistic personality, including critical thinking of the learner. When it comes to the legal education, because it is not directly the part of NEP 2020, but indirectly circulars are there, and in general universities are adopting them, and we are part of the different university. So NEP in a way is there in the legal field also. So far as critical thinking is concerned, the liberty is there to opt for the electives for all the programs designed under NEP. But when it comes to the legal education, our curriculum, our syllabus is predetermined by the BCI, leaving very little room for electives. Already the curriculum prescribed, courses prescribed by Bar Council of India are so large in number that it is very difficult task to cover them all with the minimum credit of 4 while preparing your syllabus for LLB 3 years program or integrated program. And in such circumstances, including electives and electives from the different field, that somebody can take an elective from the humanities or any creative field, designs, it becomes very difficult. Moreover, NEP asks for skill enhancement and one skill paper course for each semester. Here is also we have the restrictions and limitation because of vast number of courses predetermined by BCI. So we are not having that liberty to include new courses to sharpen the creative or improve the creative thinking among the students of law. No doubt if we have that will, we can model our courses in such a way that creative thinking will enhance among the students. But that is the task to be taken by the curriculum designer. Otherwise, we don't have much liberty on this count when it comes to the BCI education rules.
Thank you, sir. If anybody has any more questions, kindly raise your hands. So we'll close the session of the question and answer round. Thank you to all the participants for your thoughtful questions and to Dr. Moore, sir, for his insightful responses. It is now my privilege to invite our respected Dean, Dr. Nityanand Pandey, sir, GH Raisoni, Skilltech University, Nagpur, to deliver the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Thank you, madam. And thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to thanks to Dr. Ravi Moore, sir, for your insightful lectures and also accepting our invitation without any hesitations and on a single call. Sir has not only discussed about the motive behind the NEP, but also impact of NEP over the students and legal professor. Sir has also focused on the role of practitioner, teachers, researchers belongs to law field, and sir has emphasized that all must have to up to date about the skill-based training and knowledge in law field. The basic role of teachers is as a motivator. He can get respect from the society and the student when if he successfully motivate the student. And as far as the concern of the quality of effectiveness teaching, the sir has discussed about that. Teachers have to fix the topic earlier and teach them with proper example. Teacher must have to well planned with the answer of what and how about his topic. What are the tools and techniques is going to be adopted during the classroom? The teacher should be clear earlier. And teacher must be well prepared before stepping in classroom regarding the topic and things. Thank you so much, sir. And sir has covered not only the various aspects of the things belong to the NEP, but also while the preparing the curriculum for the legal education, what are the things made by the BCI, what are the mandate of the BCI, and what should be incorporated and should be taken from the NEP. And at the end, I would like to thank our chairman, sir, Honorable Sunil Raisoni, sir, Honorable BC, sir, Vivek Kapoor, sir, and I would like to thanks to Dr. Farhad Khan, madam, Dr. Neeta Nath, madam, for their beautiful cooperation and conduct and successfully completion of FDP. Organizing committee, convener Dr. Jasmine Khan, co-convener Ms. Abruchi, technical support Dr. Raman, Gaurav sir, Nidhi, Adarsh sir has performed their role very well. And they also deserve for the congratulations from my side and from the School of Law and Skill Tech University. Last but not least, I would like to thanks to all participants for making this FDP successful. I hope that we will well carried out the knowledge gained through FDP and apply in legal profession. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I am closing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, respected Dean sir, for the kind words of gratitude. It is my privilege to bring today's session and this enriching week-long FDP to a close. Before we conclude, I request all the participants to fill out the feedback form, as your reflections and suggestions will greatly help us in planning future programs. With that, we formally close this faculty development program, and we wish you all the very best and look forward to meeting you again in future academic endeavors. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.